Hi, welcome back to Very So Much 90 Day. My name's Leeja. I'm a divorce attorney.
And I'm Charlie, and I'm a student of public relations and her boyfriend.
Cool. We're back for episode 3 of Happily Ever After.
Oh my gosh, so much to talk about.
So much.
It felt like a very big episode.
There was
for
a lot
some reason
happening.
To me. Yeah.
Chock full.
Let's get started.
Let's get right into it.
We'll start with Usman and
𝗬𝗢𝗡𝗡𝗡𝗡𝗖𝗧.
Let's get your feedback first. What are your feelings? What are your thoughts on Usman the fertilizer? Sorry.
I hated that.
It was the worst of all of the nicknames, I think. And
Yeah.
the one that stuck with me the most that I wanted to share.
Yeah. The thing that stuck with me the most this episode that Kim said was that she says that she has a connection with him like no other man that she's ever had. And she was married and she procreated and had a child. And from what we've seen, at least on camera, they don't really seem to like know each other that well or have a very deep connection. Like, she was thrilled when he kissed her on the lips at the airport.
In public.
I came out of baggage claim and Usman kissed me.
And this is the best connection she's ever felt with a man before. And
Well,
that makes me sad.
It must be Michael Jackson that brings people together because he wants to be Michael Jackson. She loves Michael Jackson.
That's what they have in
But
common.
you're right. I mean, we often talk about what are the conversations between these 90 days
Yes.
couples, even via text, besides, I love you so much. I want to have children with you. I can't wait to see you.
Rose emoji, rose emoji.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Williams and Yolanda with the
Yeah.
See? He sent a rose emoji. That means it's love.
Yeah.
What else do we talk about? What
I don't know what they're talking
What is a
about
day-to-day
in there.
conversation?
None? Nothing?
None. Very so much nothing.
Very so much nothing.
I also noticed, well, something new that I found out was that Kim was in the military.
Oh, yeah.
Which was...
And was a bit of a thrill seeker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She loves go-karts and has jumped out of a plane 72 times.
I found her a little cooler after learning that
I know,
fact, if I'm
honestly.
being honest.
Truly. I know. And I think her son Jamal seems very, like, well-adjusted.
Yeah.
So...
I felt very bad for him when she made him listen to Soulja Boy in the car on the way to the
Yes.
airport.
But he seemed open-minded.
Don't play no games, no. Right now, I care for you, girl.
I see you fine girl from the internet.
Crazy. That's my boyfriend.
I no go lie, I go like to be your friend. If you want connect, we go there, okay.
It actually is pretty good.
Really?
It is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, he seemed horrified, but then he was like, all right, like, I'm glad he actually has music out there
Right.
and isn't just someone who says that he makes music.
I heard it sort of defeated in his voice when he was driving her to the airport, and he goes, "Let's go." Just sort of stared forward. But yeah, I mean, I feel like he's trying to be more open-minded about
Yeah.
it, but I think our official stance is that he's banned from watching the show.
Yeah, he
because-
should not watch this show. The fertilizer, Jamal, don't do it.
Don't do it. You don't need it. Support
no.
your mom in other ways.
Yes.
Be nice. Do not watch the show, please.
No.
Take our advice. I know you're watching.
I know you're watching,
I
Jamal.
know you're watching. But it also feels like Kim is like all or nothing. Like you said about how she has never had a bigger connection to somebody than with Usman.
Mm-hmm.
But why so all or nothing?
Yeah.
I mean, she talks to her friends like, oh, they've got to come on my side and understand me. They've got to support me. It's almost as if she's like dragging herself through the process of having a relationship with somebody.
Right, and then like forcing the marriage thing on it like as soon as humanly possible.
Right.
Which seems unnecessary.
And sort of like being okay with the polygamy idea, which I'm not 100% sure that she is okay with that.
Yeah, totally. Based on their conversation in this episode, it seems as though neither of them really know how this is going to work out. And like she thinks she's calling the shots and he thinks he's calling the shots. And it seems like a recipe for disaster.
It really does. And what are
Yeah.
your feelings legally on the idea of bringing over 1 to 2 wives and children that are not legally recognized in the eye of the great United States?
I don't think he could. And I think they were talking about him like keeping one wife in his like hometown in Nigeria, which, and it sounded almost like they were talking maybe the order of operations would be he gets married in Nigeria and has some babies and then goes to the U.S. And
Right.
that's not going to look good if he's like, yes, I want a K-1 visa because I love this woman. I want to marry her. Don't pay attention to the wife and children I already have in Nigeria. Like, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've... I mean, I'm not an immigration attorney, but I don't know if they've conferred with an immigration attorney, but it seems as though probably a bad plan.
Yeah, and also maybe the plan that Michael had with Angela.
Yeah.
Like, because he had also talked, well, at least his family had talked about him having a second wife.
Yes.
And I don't know that they'd really thought about that either, because if Michael's
No.
going to move to America, how's he going to be involved in his kid's life?
Right.
Is he interested in that?
Yeah.
I don't
and
know.
Angela shut that down pretty quickly, though,
Yeah,
so they never
she
got very
certainly
far with
did.
that conversation. But yeah, a mess.
A mess.
So that's Kimberly and Usman. Then we got Sumit and Jenny, who had their huge argument the night before because his family disowned him over their marriage, and then Jenny got mad, and we got to see them kind of have their reconciliation conversation the next morning. How did you feel about that?
I just got so upset because I just knew that you were going to go after your parents and I was going to be left sitting there by myself. You know, and I didn't know what was going on. I only knew what I thought was going on. And by the time you came and tried to comfort me and tell me what was going on, it was too late. I was already thinking the worst. I was thinking I lost him. He went to his mom. I knew it was going to happen. And that's why I yelled at you and lashed out at you the way that I did.
I think I made a comment at least that Sumit has continued to grow as a person. I think we've all talked about the huge red flags. I mean, in a different way even than Jovi. Jovi's sort of like a constant sort of calm red flag.
Yeah.
Sumit had some very big giant red flags.
Catfish. Being
marriage.
the one. Yes.
To someone else.
Yes.
So I do think that their conversations that they have feel mature.
Yes.
It feels like they're both expressing themselves. Sumit is telling her what it is that he wishes that she would have been able to give him in the moment, which
Yeah.
is great feedback
Great
for your
feedback.
partner.
And calmly, not accusatory, just saying, here's what I needed from you.
Yeah. And I think we said last episode that there's just maybe a lot of feelings just not being addressed for Jenny. And I
Yeah.
think that's maybe coming out in strange ways.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, it appears to be the only issue that
Mm-hmm.
really exists in their relationship is between Sumit and his parents and how they feel about the relationship.
Right.
Otherwise, they seem to get along great.
Yeah.
And the relationship works.
Yeah, and this conversation that we got to see between them was kind of like evidence of that. Like, I don't know, I feel like we were both pretty impressed. Like, oh, this is a mature conversation where they're communicating their needs and what they need moving forward, and they're talking it out, and they took a beat to calm down from the night before, and now they're moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, it did take one full-on screaming match.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But,
not great.
you know, I mean, outside of that,
Yeah.
maybe they won't scream the next time. Maybe that
Right.
communication will build on itself and will be much better. So, also, do they have two living spaces? They have
Right. We're
two
confused
apartments?
about that. It appears yes, because that apartment that they had the conversation with his parents in, different than the apartment that they had been living in. I'm not sure if they're keeping both to keep up appearances or so that he can go back and visit his parents more often. Or, like, is Jenny's Social Security income covering all of that? Is it the 90-day fiance $1,500 per episode that they're each
right.
paid?
Yeah.
Paying for that?
I guess that would go quite a long way. I mean, if they were sustaining just on her Social Security, which, if I remember right, she had said was in the $600 to $700 range.
Yeah, not
in
much.
the first season that we
Yeah.
met them, and if that takes them far enough to support two people in India, maybe $3,000 per episode of 90 days, something they can bank up.
Yeah, because they've been on this for numerous seasons at this point. so
Absolutely.
that might be it.
So, I mean, I do feel like I want to pass along a piece of advice to them, which would be that it's good to take a break from Sumit's parents right now. Absolutely. But I think her encouraging and supporting him wanting to reconnect with his parents at some point is going to be a big deal for him as far as his relationship goes. And if she stonewalls that, or is like, I don't want them in my life, I don't want them in my life, as toxic as they are, I think that that's going to create problems in the future.
I think you're right. It means a lot to him.
It does. And if that's what your partner really wants, to be happy,
Yeah.
then figure out a way to be supportive of it.
Right.
You know.
I agree. But that's all we really got from them this episode was just that one conversation.
Yes.
So we'll see what comes for Sumit and Jenny.
Next up, we've got the return of Angie and Michael.
Angela!
Oh my gosh. I once again feel like we've missed an entire season worth of storyline for Angela.
Maybe, but then also I feel like Angela's constantly talking about how Michael's just fucking around and messing up and doing all of his shady shit, but he's just like living his life, or, you know, maybe not this episode, but I feel like sometimes she creates drama out of nothing. So I don't know. There might be stuff there that didn't actually happen that she thinks has happened. But
it's really confusing.
It's confusing.
And she loves to speak in very like blanket terms about Michael. You're a bad person. You're a shady person. Yeah. It's not really like helpful feedback for your partner. So what are your feelings on where Angie stands right now in her life? Where the trajectory of their relationship goes? Is it salvageable?
Well, first of all, I was surprised to realize that Angie and Ed are the same age, a young 56.
A young 56.
That's wild. Like, I know Angie has been chain smoking, though. I noticed that in her bra, in place of the usual pack of cigs, was a little vape. So, you know, vaping has its own health concerns, but maybe progress. Yeah. But, I mean, she went and talked to that immigration lawyer and had a real deep conversation with him about her marital woes.
5 months, maybe. He hasn't told me he loved me. It's been really since I've had surgery. He hasn't, you know, he's always wanted to see my boobs. He's always, you know, we don't do phone sex. Like, it's just weird.
As an attorney, one of my principal responsibilities is to counsel my clients concerning the law. However, sometimes people do get me confused with a therapist, and Angela tends to reveal details about her personal life that I really don't care to know.
And seems very concerned, and I feel like that's a step that she hasn't taken in the past, because she always has said, like, we're through, Michael. This is it. This is the last straw. But
and then he buys her a cake.
Yeah, and then he buys her a cake, and then, like, it's fine, and nothing ever comes of it, whereas now it sounds like, I don't know if Michael's just become like fatigued or over the way that she treats him, because she is like, as much as it's fun to chuckle about her, like she does have abusive tendencies towards him, and 100%. His controlling him, controlling his Instagram, his social media, where he goes, he can't work, who he sees. Like, that is textbook abusive relationship, and it might just be that he's now starting to act out because he's finally had enough.
Yeah, but we also kind of heard the same feedback from Ariel and Beanie, right? Where she said, when I lived in America, he didn't respond to my texts very well. I mean, this last time she blocked him, which was a whole other thing. But the trip before that, she said that he was like pretty non-communicative, and they struggled with that. So I don't know whether or not it's just those guys' styles that if they're not talking face to face, they're not really communicating clearly. But
it sounds like it's been a change, though, because they've been long distance for a while.
Yeah, and that message about the Instagram just felt out of place for me. Like, it didn't seem like Michael,
right?
But
so it makes me wonder. Well, we talked about this, but so the Instagram messaging, he put his Instagram back up, which Angie doesn't want him to have an Instagram, and then he said, pay me $5,000 and I'll take it down, which doesn't sound like Michael. So my theory is either she's being scammed by someone else, though I did see around that 5K message where it was like voice messages, so I don't know if that she was able to confirm that way that it was actually him, or it's just someone who's been trapped in an abusive relationship for so long that he's finally just fucking cracked.
Yeah, I mean, to say something like that to your partner is like, that feels like the edge of your relationship.
How do you come back from that?
I'm going to blackmail you over my social media profile.
Just to get some freedom from your like overbearing rules.
I don't know how you come back from that.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't, and that's where you meet somebody like Billy.
The
original thief of hearts.
Yeah, Angie's gonna go to Canada. Meet old Bill. Hadn't seen any of those TikTok dances that they did together, but they look like fire content.
Oh my gosh.
Remember this one?
Oh my God, yes. Billy is a man of many trades. He's from Canada, and he's a painter. All right, let me try. I emailed Billy for a painting that I wanted to have made for Michael, and we befriended each other and started dancing together on TikTok.
he's a painter, and he has a ponytail.
My mom would love him.
Oh
I'm just
man,
realizing.
your mom would love him. He's got moves, absolutely.
Yeah.
The second couple I said that really has bonded over a music app. You said, I can't remember what the original TikTok app was.
Musically or something?
Musically?
Yeah.
So we were thinking
The
about
pre-TikTok app.
Rachel and John. John
Yes.
being the rugby player from Britain. I don't know what. I think that was before the 90 days.
Yeah, that sounds right. Maybe
But-
the other way.
Yeah, so she had met John, who lived in Britain, that couldn't get over to the U.S. because he had a criminal history of getting into fights.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he was a garbage collector, potentially.
right. I think
Such a
so.
sweet guy.
Yeah.
Incredible. She was pregnant when they met.
Yeah.
He took in the baby as his own, but I
Yeah.
believe the father of her older child has prevented her from moving to Britain, even though they did get married.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't want to go too deep into that. I just love that couple very much,
They're
and I
very
miss
sweet.
their content.
Me too.
So, but hey, music apps bringing people together.
That's right. Cross-continent dancing.
Billy doing the incredible dance.
Well, I was going to say you love to see it, but in this case, I don't know that you do.
Maybe we don't love to see it.
Yeah.
That's right. But I met originally from Angela hiring him to do a painting for
Of
Michael.
Michael.
And what I would pay to see that painting.
Oh, my God. I wonder if it was a naked painting.
Oh my gosh. I mean, the original Thief of Hearts would probably be willing to paint Michael naked.
Wow.
But I'd be willing to put a couple of bucks toward at least an NFT of that.
Oh, no.
Kicking into Jovi, Bon Jovi,
John Bon Jovi.
John Bon Jovi, and Yara and Gwen.
Mrs. Gwen.
Mrs. Gwen.
She's back in the picture.
They had well, you tell me about how you felt about their encounter with Mrs. Gwen.
Well, in another attempt for Jovi to get drunk while hanging out with his wife and daughter, they go on a cruise, and Jovi's immediately like, let me go get some drinks.
All right, got everybody drinks?
Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Cheers, Milo.
So they're on this cruise ship. They're trying to have this conversation to clear the air. And Jovi goes in by saying that, let's clear the air. And Mrs. Gwen's like, it really hurt me that you yelled at me. And then Jovi's like, well, Yara was putting so much pressure on me.
Immediate.
And immediately threw her under the bus.
Something we need to talk about. I think it's been on all of our minds.
Like, you really yelled at me. What did I do to deserve that? Tell
Man,
me.
I don't know. Like, I was getting a lot of pressure from Yara. The last time I went to work, you didn't see her the whole time I was gone.
And I feel like Yara kind of got to say her piece that, like, in the Ukraine, like, grandmothers are just always there. And so I didn't realize I needed to ask you, and I should have, and I'm sorry. And so there was some reconciliation, which was nice, but it felt like they didn't get everything out in the open that needed to be said.
No, not at all. I think at the end, Gwen was like, well, I just don't want to fight anymore. And
Yeah.
then they just hugged it out. But
Yeah.
they didn't really seem that happy with the overall conversation. It didn't really feel very fulfilling to me.
Yeah, or like they didn't come to a real solution other than she was like, I'll try to be more present, but also I'm no one's nanny. I don't know what their end solution's going to be there.
Well, one good thing that came out of it, which we kind of talked about last episode, was that it sounds like Yara is trying to get her mom to the States to help out with the baby. Her mom is currently living in Prague.
Yeah, her mom's not in Ukraine, which is good.
And we got a cute look at her on
Yeah, it was
FaceTime.
so sweet. They had a nice
so sweet.
FaceTime.
Або може буде відко, як на Україні буде. Я, звісно, хочу дому, але аж в Україні там каже, наш президент тепер виїхав з України. Так що я не знаю, аж там все буде не дуже добре, то буде відко.
Я думаю, що все вийдеться.
I don't know if that's where Yara gets her taste for the color beige, is from her mother, but
It was a very funny
that was a
conversation.
great moment. It was actually a moment where I felt like I kind of enjoyed Jovi's ribbing of her.
Yeah.
Where he just was like, what, beige? Beige is your favorite color?
Yeah.
I thought it was like just sort of
It
a
was
charming back and forth in general.
The one and only time I've ever found Jovi to be likable.
Right.
And it was a fleeting moment. But
and
it
they
was
had
nice.
like chemistry.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Like
was
you could tell that
sweet.
she can like rib him back too.
Right.
Even though he sucks still.
So I don't know that we got much farther in their storyline, really.
Mm-hmm.
But I do I am glad to see them coming back together because it does seem like they all want to be in each other's lives.
With Mrs. Gwen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And having Yara's mom there, I think, would be
That would
huge.
be so nice. Yeah. Well, hopefully she's able to get her. I'm glad to hear that her mom is not in Ukraine.
I do believe Yara and Natalie have both been pretty active on Instagram, posting stories about the Ukraine and keeping people informed and being somewhat involved, which is nice to see. I mean, I don't know what else I would have expected, but it's cool to see people representing.
Yeah.
Especially from this trash show that we love.
That's right. Making a difference. 90-day style.
90-day style.
All right, moving on to another controversial couple, Ed and Liz. Ed and Liz, I feel like we got a deeper look into the toxicity of their relationship this episode.
Their biggest episode, I think, yet this season.
Yeah.
I would dare say.
I would dare say it. Because we started with him coming home after seeing Rich, and she was like, every time you talk to Rich, you break up with me, so I don't like that Rich is in your life. And she's like clearly so terrified of him breaking up with her, and like they have such a history of just dumping each other over things that it feels like they're both kind of walking on eggshells.
Went to talk to Rich, and I don't know what to expect, but I'm nervous.
Well, you're kissing me, so you're not breaking up with me.
No. All right, I'm gonna get in my pajamas.
I am super nervous to talk to Ed. Not that I don't think we're very strong in our relationship right now, but every time he's always hung out with Rich, he always broke up with me. I don't think that Ed ever really thought for himself in the past.
So it scares me. It makes me panic.
And like, is he going to dump me? Is he going to dump me? And it just seems... But also then she was like, I don't want you to see him, which is like a toxic response to that too.
Absolutely. I don't even know if we have confirmation that she ever broke up with him, right?
I have no
idea.
idea.
I feel like I was starting to get glimpses of like how these stories have come together where Ed hears from Rich and Rich says something about Liz that's like not great.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ed tells Liz about it after every conversation that he has with Rich for some reason.
Yes.
And then works up Liz, and then
They fight.
He gets upset and then breaks up with her via text.
Yeah.
It seems
That
to be
seems to
maybe the
be-
pattern.
yeah.
And it seems like Ed is just very reactionary in his first reaction because he clearly has issues with being alone. I mean, he
Yes.
basically falls in love and is ready to marry every single person that he's dated on this show, like
true.
within a month or two.
Yeah.
So I just think that it's a knee-jerk reaction to being insecure, maybe.
Yeah, totally.
And maybe Liz is right to feel kind of nuts about it.
Yeah.
I mean...
I think so. But then also some of her shit is like very reactionary, and
The photo shoot.
the
Is that what
photo
you're talking
shoot.
about?
Yeah, the photo shoot kind of shed light on, for me, on Liz's just, the reactionary nature of how she interacts with Ed. It was interesting because not only am I a lawyer, but I also was a photographer before law school. And she said very sternly, like, I want to learn, I want to ask questions. So I'm going to come along while he takes photos of my friend who happens to be really smoking hot. My theory is that she just said she wanted to learn so that she could go along with the photo shoot so that she could keep an eye on him because she doesn't trust him, but that's not confirmed. But then even during the photo shoot, she's not asking any questions. She is like saying that the girl doesn't look like she has a neck in the photo. She's getting mad that he's like telling her how to pose and stuff, which she's supposed to do.
Okay, perfect. Okay, breathe. See how you can, there's like a vertical line right through her eyebrow, through the kind of the front of her chest. I look for a line. That's my style, not yours. But you might find different things that work for you.
It looks like she has no neck.
No, it doesn't.
Well, like here. I mean, that's just my
No.
thought. It looks like...
Yeah, don't ever say that in front of her. No, there's nothing wrong with this picture. I'm sure Liz didn't mean to, but I get teased about my neck all the time. So I'm a little sensitive to that.
He does say some things that like are kind of creepy. Like, it's a lot easier when your subject is beautiful.
Right.
That, like,
wink.
Yeah, there are ways to kind of pump up your model because you want her to feel confident in front of your camera. That's how you get good photos. There are ways to do it without being a fucking creep, and so I think he said some shit that definitely like not necessary.
This is just you being
Oh my
That's just you being natural. See, it's easy.
I'm kind of speechless.
The way Liz was reacting to it kind of felt like it was coming out sideways. Like she was really uncomfortable with something, but then was like saying little snide things and then getting mad. And it was so like embarrassing for her, honestly, the way that she was acting. And she didn't seem like she genuinely wanted to learn anything. She wasn't like, oh, why are you having me move this light this way? What does ISO mean?
Right.
What is all of these things that you're saying to me, and asking questions? She was just kind of like monitoring, and then got mad when he was paying more attention to the model that he was photographing than to her.
Because he's a professional photographer.
It was weird.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting theory that she was there to kind of watch him. I would not trust Ed. I think you're right.
But she knows her friend's hot. Like,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really want to be in a relationship with somebody that you have to go everywhere
Absolutely
that they
not.
go.
Yeah,
But also, like, I don't know if it was my first time apprenticing with somebody, I certainly wouldn't look at their shots and say, there's no neck there. Why did you take the photo that way? Like, in that sort of critique type of way.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was weird.
Ed's been doing this for like
18 years.
18 years.
Yeah.
He's like, I mean, not only that, it's like you're taking so many photos in one session. It's even if the neck wasn't showing on that model, I mean, he probably just wouldn't use that photo.
Right.
So I didn't really understand why Liz was nitpicking. And maybe it just comes down to her just wanting to piss him off. Like they're at that part in their relationship if we've all been in failing relationships where you sort of nitpick at each other a little bit, and sometimes it's like gratifying to see them get a little pissed off about it, you know?
Yeah, they seem just so resentful of each other and terrified that each other is gonna dump each other, but also kind of fucking miserable. And
that's their entire existence in the relationship, is trying to preserve the relationship.
Yeah.
And for what, I don't really understand.
That's all they're doing in the relationship, is working on preserving it. They're not like going and having fun. They're not like growing as people. They're just like desperately clinging on to this relationship and trying to make it work. And that's the whole point of it.
The whole point.
So weird.
But it sounds like they're doing some pretty fun hobbies together now, like photography. But they did meet with Liz's friend, Barry with one R.
Yes, Barry with one R.
So I want all the dirt on this one.
No, Liz is awesome. She's pretty great.
But if there's someone who knows me pretty well, it's Barry.
Liz told me a little bit about you. My dad was in the Air Force.
Also, I was in the Marine Corps.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Had yet another conversation full of questions that no one would ever answer.
Yeah.
Honestly, in the moment. I mean, what would Ed say to some of those questions that he asked him in front of Liz?
It's weird.
What are your intentions? Are you going to leave her? I'm concerned about her. Like, Ed's going to be like, got me.
Yeah. Yeah. 90 Day loves to, I don't know if the producers do this on purpose for every single season, but they always have the friend roast meeting where some couple meets with friends and the friends ask really pointed, inappropriate questions that, at least in my circle of friends, we would never ask like a new partner in that way. And so that's what this was for this season, I think.
Yeah, and it's like some sort of weird stand-in for actual couples therapy.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's weird.
under-therapied, and I mean, I think they should break up.
They should break up.
They should break up.
Dump them. Dump her. Dump each other.
I don't know what Ed needs.
Yeah, but they don't.
They don't
whatever,
need each other.
Not whatever they have. Yeah. They
No
both
one's
need very
having
different
fun. It's
people.
another thing that we often say.
No one's having fun.
We had to check the temperature of the water. Is anyone having fun in this relationship? If not,
No one's having fun.
no one's having fun.
Dump each other.
Dump each other.
Moving on to our final couple.
The last one. Once again, we're back with Bilal and 𝗪𝗓.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts?
And, I mean, we didn't get a ton from them, but I like we talked about for last week's episode, I see where Bilal's coming from. I know he's in a hard position, but this man, I have dated men who are the Stonewall type, where when they're mad, they go silent, and it's fucking infuriating because he is acting like a petulant child by just being like, yeah, it's fine. I don't know. And that makes a person go nuts. And so when 𝗪𝗓's sitting there on the bed with him trying to say, like, here's where I'm coming from, and he's like stonewalling her, and he opens up a little bit, but she said that he had been like just giving her the silent treatment since the night before, which is so immature. And like, I cannot imagine trying to be in a relationship with him. It sounds absolutely maddening.
Last night, the car ride was silent because I didn't have much to say. Peace has been thrown out the door. The worst case scenario was what happened.
Bilal,
Yep.
we need to talk about what happened.
That being said, though, I mean, 𝗏𝗧, not necessarily in the right in this situation.
No, I totally agree. And it just reminded me once again that I just wanted one season off from this couple.
They needed some time.
They needed to develop a story because this is all still springing from that prenup conversation.
God.
Like, I'm so sick of it.
Yeah. And the fact that 𝗏𝗧's still just hung up on this one conversation that, like, we have footage of, it was not dramatic in the way that she is painting it to be. And you made some comment that, like, maybe culturally there was something there that would have made her feel more sensitive.
Right. Like the conversation about a prenup, potentially where she's from, is a much bigger deal to come in. And it felt like a lot more aggressive to her than really it is. We talked about maybe rewatching that scene again at the table because I just don't remember it being all that heated. I mean, she was offended by it, but it was like kind of low key. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's fine. I get why she would have been offended, but the fact that this is the hill she's dying on, like 2 months into their marriage, and that she's willing to kind of throw away the peace and stability that they seemed to have with him and his children and his ex-wife, which is like a tenuous balance over this conversation, when it doesn't sound like his ex-wife has done anything after that conversation to warrant her being really suspicious of his ex, you know?
Yes.
Like, she hasn't followed up by being aggressive or asking, you know, more questions. I mean, not that we've seen, at least. So I'm not really sure why she's still hung up on this single conversation that happened, at least 3 months prior to this.
Well, I mean, she still hasn't worked it out, and I mean, it was a little bit gross to see her be like, if you want me to apologize, I will apologize for the sake of our family. But to not really understand where things went awry, I think is frustrating. I mean, yeah, the stonewalling thing, he sort of leaned on, I just didn't really have anything to say, which of course is not the case because he always has so much to say because he just lectures her all the time.
Like a child.
So maybe I thought, what if Bilal had his own YouTube channel where he offers courses on, like whatever it is that he wants to lecture people on. He can start recording himself talking.
Get it out of his
Make his
system.
own TED Talks. Because the way that he speaks to his wife and his partner is just like...
so condescending.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It's so hard. I would go absolutely nuts if my partner talked to me like that all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, he does not think of them on equal footing.
No.
Even if he says he does. He really does not.
The way he talks to her doesn't. Yeah. Is anyone having fun?
Not yet.
Right?
I mean, they made snow angels at one time.
There was that one time we saw a glimmer of fun.
But, one good thing is that they're talking about having a baby. So, that always usually fixes things in this show. Yeah.
They'll be great.
But I think was it like foreshadowing the next episode when they were in that? Okay.
Yeah. So next episode, we'll be seeing more of a baby conversation with these two, it appears.
Seemed evasive.
Yeah.
Reminder, there is a contract in place.
He signed a contract.
But once again, I'm tired of this couple. I wish them the best, but just give me a little bit of time. I'm ready for another Darcy arc.
We miss Darcy.
I think Darcy's better in the 90-day format rather than having her own show. We got a little burned out on Darcy solo.
It was kind of it was a lot.
Look, she's single again, and we're ready to have her back.
We want her back. Bring Darcy back.
Yeah.
90-day
single life. But I think we'll maybe talk about a fantasy draft 90-day, which for a second included Lou, the Angela's lawyer.
Immigration lawyer. He was kind of funny.
He was funny, and he was like, I don't know why she's telling me this.
Angela tends to reveal details about her personal life that I really don't care to know.
But I'm getting paid $250 an hour to do it. But I did bring up the fact that at the end he was doing an interview with the camera crew and speaking pretty openly about just having opinions on Michael and what was really happening. Why would somebody be allowed to speak that openly to a camera?
I mean, there's definitely a thing of attorney-client privilege where you're not supposed to, divulge sensitive details about your client. However, I think if Angela is having camera crews in to watch her have a meeting with her lawyer, that she must have signed something, or he must have had her sign something to waive the attorney-client privilege aspect and give him kind of free reign to talk about stuff, because yeah, you can't typically just talk like that openly about a client.
Right.
But the fact that she invited camera crew into their meeting indicates to me that she was probably like, yeah, that's fine, I'll sign away, whatever.
I mean, does Michael have any sort of recourse where he can say, I didn't approve of you, like, accusing me of, like, sending this message to ask for $5,000, and the fact that you're passing judgment on me as her lawyer to a camera, to this national audience? Is there some sort of liability risk there? Is it more on Angela's side that risk would be?
I think the liability risk would be in if this lawyer represented both of them, and that's something that, I don't know, we would have to see the retainer agreement that was signed, and I don't know how it works in immigration law if you just represent the party. I'd imagine maybe he's just representing Angela because she's the one applying for the visa on behalf of Michael. So I could see him just being Angela's lawyer and not Michael's lawyer. So then that kind of gets rid of any sort of attorney-client privilege that he would have with Michael.
Okay, so Michael's just sort of like out of luck. Nothing really can really do about it.
Unless what they're talking about is untrue, then maybe he could sue him for defamation. But something tells me Michael's not sitting around on the type of cash you need to bring a defamation lawsuit.
Well, he might get that $5,000. What's to say? Take down that Instagram.
That's good.
Yeah, I wonder what he can get for a TikTok account. Ooh. If he was dancing with another person, duetting just like Angela.
With a lady?
Oh my gosh. With Billy even? That'd be amazing. What a twist.
I'd like to see that.
I would love to see that. Anyways, I don't really have anything else. Is there
We
anything
did it.
else? Yeah.
We've made it through the couples. Much more, it seems, to come from this season. We're only on episode 3, and I feel like these seasons have, 20 episodes?
Yes.
So,
and it's heating up. I feel like this season is, as we expected, we're getting a little bit more of a deconstruction about Ed and Liz and what happened there.
Thank God.
They're sort of trying to construct something with Bilal and Shaida. So, various stages of, interest as far as their story goes. But I'm really excited to see where this season goes.
Yeah, me too.
So.
Great.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, we've had a blasty blast, and we'll see you again next week for next week's episode of Happily Ever After.
Very so much 90 Day.
Very so much 90 Day. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye-bye.